So welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a while since I've done a YouTube video, but hopefully this will be the beginning of an ongoing deal. So I want to talk about the truth about this election. Now, I know that people are right now, as I speak, running to the polls and voting. But I want to give you a perspective that I've had on the election for a while, and elections just in general and voting. Now, first point. What do you do after you vote? Now, you have done what you feel you should do. You've gone out there and vote. There are people running now to the polls and saying, I have to make my voice count. And that's great. That's exciting. But what do you do after you have cast your ballot, you have shared your voice? Because I've heard people say, well, if you don't vote, you don't even have the right to complain about what happens. Now, here's something I want you to consider. After your candidate wins or loses, you still have those views. Some people, unfortunately, in this election are actually going to vote for the candidate they hate the least. That proves there's a problem with our democracy, right? That's a problem. Let's be honest, that's a problem. You're actually picking the less evil, or the person who you think won't blow up the country as fast or whatever. It's your choice. That's your perspective. But that's an issue. The fact that you have voted and yet you're still concerned about your well-being. Is there anything you can do? Yes, there is an issue you can do. You have to admit that there's a problem with our system. Let me remind you of something. When the Declaration of Independence was put together, they admitted, even in the actual document, that whenever government becomes atrocious or becomes detrimental to the people, it has the right to be abolished. So we have the right to come to these elected officials, this governmental system, and say, there's a problem. We have an issue. Let me destroy this lie that we have been putting out here in social media and in the world. Voting is one of the ways in which you can express your opinion. The way we got the right to vote was by organizing ourselves, organizing sit-ins, organizing shutdowns. We did economic boycotts. We used our power as a people to come together and stand against the oppression of minorities and other groups. So progressively, we've gotten better, but don't let anybody fool you. Voting is one of the ways in which you express your opinion. If you don't like what your candidate does, or you don't like what's happening in your country, you have the right at any given point to protest, to stand against it, to boycott it, to say this is not the way it needs to be. And no, we don't just have to march, and we don't just have to put on t-shirts and all of that. We have the right to hold our government accountable for the unrighteousness and the whatever it is that they're doing that we may not agree with as citizens. That's our God-given and our governmental right to do that. So as you're voting today, go ahead, vote your heart away. Do whatever you need to do. But remember, don't be lazy after this election. I don't care who wins. The reality is we as a people cannot give our power, our devotion, our total devotion, our undying love and commitment to one candidate or one party. We need to give our commitment and our focus to righteousness and progressing our community into a better place, and that's what we need to do. So vote away, but never forget that you are called to be an example and to stand up for righteousness through it all. No matter how you feel, no matter who you vote for, nobody deserves to lose their life, their rights as a citizen of these United States. And that was my perspective on the lies we have been told thus far. You can do more than just vote. Remember that.